Welcome to this nice, cool December Lake and Wildlife meeting. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. First of all, I want to have a little round of applause for LuAnn for last night's banquet. Huh? Great work. It was a good party. Good attendance. Over 80 people, which is fantastic. Secondly, and probably more importantly today, as you know, it's Pearl Harbor Day. So I think we need to just bow our heads for a couple minutes for prayer for our veterans. Those are here, those are not, and those are serving our country today. Lord, protect them, protect us, keep them safe, keep their families safe, give them return home safe, and allow them and their families to make it through whatever grieving process and difficulties they may have. Bless all those veterans that are with us here today and keeping our country safe. Through Christ our Lord, amen. Okay, good meeting today. A lot of good subjects, a lot of good information. It's going to be a good one. I want to go first, of course, as I always do, to our mission. Our mission, which will continue into the new year. Living in Wandrie is a privilege, which includes the responsibility to take care of our natural world around us. Therefore, Lake and Wildlife works and will continue to work to preserve the natural beauty and wildlife of Wandrie by encouraging VTCI and all our residents to be good stewards of our natural resources. We'll continue to monitor, educate, and volunteer. And that will continue through the new year. There will be no change. There will be a lot more work with nature, with habitat, with forestry, with streams, all contributing to the main things that we love here at Wandrie. Today's agenda will welcome any new partners. We'll have our board report by Sandra, committee reports, treasurer's report, and our Wandrie annual report from Jim Pryor on 24-25. And adjourn. So we can watch Georgia today. Okay. Anybody new here? First time? Never been here before? Boy, we got all veterans today, that's for sure. Okay. That's good. All right, let's move on. Sandra.
Good morning, everyone. I have just a brief report this morning. First of all, the budget for 2025 was passed unanimously. And the new fee schedule was passed as well. So be sure to check the fee schedules. They're on the website. We also elected our new officers. They're the same as last year. Buddy Creef will be the president. Michael Kahn is vice president. Ralph Morse, treasurer. And Artie Allen remains as secretary. Finally, the only other thing was where they're going to put a new little lamp stand. VTCI is paying for it, a little lamp upstairs on the bridge, giving it more light, and it'll look nicer as well. I think that's all I have. The next working session will be January 14th, and the regular session will be January 21st. Hope to see some of you there. Thanks.
Thanks, Sandra. Okay, let's go to our committees for our December committee report. We'll start with the first item, fundraising. Tamarack treasurers and Marietta.
Good morning. I want to thank everybody who came out and helped with Tamarack Treasures. It was another great success, but it's not the only fundraiser we have. So in recap for the year, we had 33 volunteer hours for hanging baskets, 36 for the Two Whispering Spring sales. For Tamarack Treasures, the collections, pricing, preparing food, preparing plants, advertising, art research, gathering needed materials, filming, making gnomes, etc., came out to 354 hours, and setting up, breaking down, and actually working the sale was 720 hours. So a grand total of 1,143 hours for fundraising this year. And if you think we have our hands full, you should see our hearts, because the people here have just been answering every call for materials, time, and talents, and I'm so appreciative for everybody's support. And the new face of Tamarack Treasures is Deb White, so she's going to tell you a little bit about Tamarack Treasures going forward.
You know, it's really hard to create a new program like Marietta did, and as successful as that program has been. So I have the easy task now of just picking up the ball and keeping it rolling forward at the same pace that she had created. So everyone should have a flyer in your seat. You got one last night if you were at the dinner. I'm really serious about you guys having the flyers, right? Refrigerator or put it on your post or your board, your pegboard at your home or whatever as a reminder. This is the January collection that we've done the last several years for your holiday items that you've decided that you no longer want to use. So that 9-foot tree that you've decided I'm never putting that tree up again, we'll take it. We'd love to have your 9-foot tree. The holiday platters, the serveware, the linens, the winter coats that you have, anything that's got bent tree on it. We'd love to get it on January 13th. All you'll have to do is in the past, pull up to admin. We'll have groups there that'll help you unload your car, and we will be storing all of those items in the admin basement. So it starts at 10 o'clock. We'll be there until everybody's donations are done. If you would like to help with that event, we'd love to have some additional people helping us collect items and take them down to the basement. And then there'll be some more information after the first of the year in the spring before our spring sale, which will be at the end of April, about ways that those of you who have seen us running around like nuts and want to join part of that team can get involved with us. We would love to see some new faces join the team. We have a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you come on down. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the 13th, hopefully.
Thank you, Deb. We're looking forward to working with you, that's for sure, I know. Andy, there he is, KBTV.
I hope everybody's enjoying the outdoor holiday displays, yes? That's it.
Yeah, let it be said in the minutes, that's the shortest KBTV report we've ever had for Andy. That's because he's a little worn out from all the singing last night, which was fantastic. Thanks, Andy. Wildlife, Elden.
Morning. Not much to report with wildlife. The deer are still plentiful. They're out scrounging for food. I understand a lot of bears are being seen. In fact, there was a rendezvous in the back of Ken Denny's house, I understand, the other day. What you have, 8 bears in the back of your house? 9 bears in the back of your house. Yeah. You may have noticed the goose beacons over at the lake are back up. I had taken them down for the winter, and Mike Corey asked me to put them back up to try to, the few geese that are there, maybe train them not to come on the shore and everything, so the beacons are back there. No recent reports on hogs and everything, which is a good thing. So wildlife is plentiful and healthy. Thanks.
Thanks, Ellen. I'm going to move to lakes and streams. As you know, I've had a couple minor strokes and had some issues with his heart, And he's doing well recovering, but his strength is not up. He said he can't even do one hole of golf. And so they're on meds, and he's getting better. And he wanted me to let you know that he's doing well. And thank you for all the thoughts and prayers and cards that he got. So he couldn't be here, but as you know, the lake is doing fine and everything in it, and the fish are okay. And, you know, I'm sure they're happy that Huff isn't back out there. Gerald. And from a lake perspective and the streams are doing well. The oxygen content is high at 7 and 8. We have dissolved oxygen doing very well. pH is at 7, which is good. Our sediment is very little this time of year, and water temperatures are cold. So I think they're very strong and healthy. I wanted today just to give you a couple shots and pictures of what's going on. As you've all seen, there's a lot of work going on down at Mulligan. And we did Coffee Cove last year, as you saw, down by the beach, and we are now doing Mulligan from Tamarack all the way to the lake. And it's about an 8 times bigger project. And just so, because it's hard to get down there and look, some people have come down and looked, some people have had comments, which is fine. And some just didn't understand, period. They said, oh yeah, those are those silt dams, we did that before. And so I said, no, this is a little bit different. But just quickly, because there's so much today, and Jim is here, this is what it looked like. And it just gets worse and worse where your sediment and your water is washing back underneath these trees. And all this is washing down and into the lake. There's another one getting closer to the lake on Mulligan where it's all washed underneath here. When I started doing stream work with Mason and Kim and Dave and others that were here, some of this was out to here. This is where the stream bank was. And it just keeps caving in and caving in. When you get to 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of water, it just rushes and pulls that all back and down. You can see all the rocks here and sediment that has fallen in. Here's another area right here. And most of these trees are okay, but some of them are so rotten here. And I had an arborist and forester come out and certify which trees were going to die, so we knew which trees to go and save and which ones to cut. They said, you know, these just aren't going to survive. They're already tilting, they could fall on. So this is the crew at work. Some of these people you recognize, but this is out on Tamarack coming down through. We're doing the same process. We're laying logs along the stream bank, laying them in, back up into here, and then we will put fabric down in the back, and also what we call wattles, to hold the fabric down, to hold the stream bank, so that some of these trees can be saved, as you can see that are here. And then the main thing is that you're taking that sediment and stopping it from coming down into the creek and then washing down into the lake. You know, the board in the past, and Artie and also others had said, you know, before we do any dredging in the lake, let's get this all fortified and make sure that we're not just going to continue to run the sediment in the lake. So that's what's going on there. This is Jack White, he's our consultant. Jack's nearly 70-some years old, and he's done this for 40 years. And he knows what logs go where, what products go where, and he's certified stream bank renovator and works for the Adopt a Stream, and has been very reasonable working with us. As you know, there's Travis and some of his people. This is coming down. I just want to show you. This is how it's washing from the sides on Mulligan down here. You can see all of it over here. It's all washed. This is all going downstream. And then this is a look after where the guys are working this week. We worked 3 days this week and it's cold and wet. And here's the logs going in, here's the fabric going up behind. These guys aren't standing still. They're being careful because Travis was swinging the 10-pound sludge. And we're fortifying here again so that this stuff doesn't run in. It'll hold. Some of these logs, as you know, are all old. 25, 30, 40 years they'll be there. So, you know, we don't have to worry about replacing that. Last quick shot. This is Patrick on the Bobcat. And this is how big these logs are. They're 10 to 12 feet long, 16 to 18 inches in diameter. They're very heavy, and those are the ones that are going down in the toe, as they call it, where the water meets the stream bank. and then the water will be stopped in front of it and then behind it. The other reason I want to have that up there quick is that this road that comes in on Mulligan off of Tamarack, where you see the sign that goes way back, that is the road that will be used to carry the stuff out of the dredging. And so when we're gonna dredge, you gotta make sure the stream is strong, healthy, stream bank's solid, because this road is gonna carry a lot of weight. And we will need to be doing some dredging, there's no question about that, because that's just the way things are here in Bent Tree. It's just planning for it and budgeting and getting it ready. So this is very important to get the stream straightened up, get the stream bank done, and get this road sorted up so that we can run back and forth and pull that stuff out of there. I did that because I wanted you to be able to have information for people that are going, what's going on in Mulligan? Oh my God. They're doing the same thing again. It's just so you know what we're doing. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me. We're enjoying the work, staying warm. Let's go, communications. Dara?
Yeah, so habitat conservation, Brian was back on the other side. And we had a big presentation at the board meeting recently. Haven't heard a lot about it, so I don't know if that meant everybody thought it was great, agreed, or had no idea what we were talking about and what it really meant. I think that what Brian just went through with the stream restoration, you know, we've been talking about stream restoration for a while, but this is what you get to with the details, where it's so concrete and you can really see what's going on and you understand then at a level if this is not something that you have a background with or you study or want to spend a lot of time learning about. When, like Brian shows the stream restoration, which the streams are one of our biggest habitats, you can really get your mind around what that means and understand it better. So we'll be doing a lot of that planning and communication in the coming year about other parts of our habitat, like our plant life and our woodlands and our roadsides. That's where the habitat conservation plan is really focused. So you can look forward to that. And if you have an interest in it and want to learn more about it, you know, I always say that there's this concept called plant blindness, where if you showed like a woodland and there was a deer there and there was 100 trees and you showed a picture and you said, what do you see? Most people are going to say, I see a deer. They're not going to say they see the 100 trees because they're just part of our background, but they're an important part that we need to pay attention to because they're not all created equal. So we will have a lot more to come on habitat conservation, and that sort of feeds into all the communication stuff. I would love for somebody who's good on Facebook and social media, who likes to spend time on social media, to help us, to help me with communication, with things like remembering to get stuff in on time, and just, you know, you have to talk things up around here. There's a lot going on, and somebody who enjoys that, please, I would love some help with communication, just on the social media side of things that we can do to keep people remembering what's going on, like in our life.
Thanks, Dara. And just so everyone knows also, obviously this work is what I call a joint partnership, but this is working with Jim's crew and Ashley and many at BTCI at Ventry and their budget that they have for this. And it's just been really great. Jim working with Ashley and Travis. These guys are great, working hard out there in the cold and, you know, never saying I'm going home. They're learning, they're getting excited about it. They even know which end of the log they want, which way upstream. And so it's a good learning experience. As far as habitat, and just as Dara mentioned, kind of waiting to see what happened there to do our plan and our budget for the coming year. The habitat conservation plan they put together had some 14 items that they wanted to do in the coming years. Dara, Rick, and others on the board, Dave, and it's being looked at, and that's fine, but now we know because 8 of the 14 are items that we are currently doing here at Lake and Wildlife. So we will continue to do those 8 and continue on our plan and other things may come, but we will stay with that, stay with the mission, and it's good. It's good. We know where we're going and what we're gonna do. Communications, Dara, you talked about, thank you. Project maintenance, there's some trails and signage work going up on the new trails, and Mason will talk to that in a little bit. Some plantings that are being put out there. As I say, Rick couldn't be here because, just didn't want to come to get exposed. And I also want to mention that as part of that whole big program on Mulligan, that there is the materials, there is the logs, and all those logs that you see are all coming from the stream that are rotten or were falling. So we're putting those right back to work to help us, and we're not going out and cutting a whole bunch of trees down. So that's very important. That worked out so well. And in the end, there's money in the budget, and we will do plantings. We'll be planting on the stream banks, planting trees, willows, a lot of stuff Dara and Kenny have already pulled out in our savings, so when we're done, they go right back in. It's pretty neat. Special events, the holiday dinner, LuAnn.
I just wanted to say thank you for everybody that helped last night, especially for Lou Dunnigan, who does all the name tags and hauls a bunch of stuff and does a lot of things, and Andy for bringing the music and helping with that part of it. We did have the employee luncheon as well, and thank you to everybody else. There's a ton of people on decorating, setting up, and tearing down, and bringing your food, so that was great. Employee luncheon as well. We had a great group of people that helped with that, and it went over well. I'm trying to move to have somebody else take over special events. We don't have anything coming up until Fish Fry, which is June, if we coordinate and have a fish fry. And then we have the coffee on meetings, coffee and donuts, which we don't have another meeting until February, so that gets you time to get excited on becoming the coffee and donut person. You don't have, I'm just saying this without even saying it to Brian, but if somebody wants to be just coffee and donuts or handle that, a couple different people, they don't have to be the whole special events. I mean, we could have a couple different people doing things, so don't feel like you have to take everything on. Or somebody who wants to be the person who heads up fish fry, somebody who wants to do the employee lunch, that kind of thing. And all of our group of people that help with everything, including me on that, will all still be helping. So it's not like you're just thrown to the wolves. So anyway, think on it. We got a little bit of time before anything major, but just be thinking on it. Okay. Thank you, everyone who's been helpful. Thank you.
Trails, Mason.
I don't have much new to report on trails this month. I've been out of town up in North Carolina helping my son out up there. But we're making progress across the top of the mountain on the new Orange Trail. Within eyesight of the biggest traverse across the top of the mountain. We've got about 200 or 300 feet to go, but it's all through boulders and it's slowing us down. So we're getting close on that. Hope to have that done in January for sure. It'll be fairly easy after we get across that top stretch. Then there's only 2 switchbacks that are pretty easy, and those should go quite quickly. I did want to mention for the hiking club, Jan Jeffcoat will be leading the Sally Long Memorial Silent Night Hike, Moonlight Hike, which will be next Thursday. Everybody's going to meet behind the tavern at 6:30 with a departure to walk the back 9 at 6:45. And then annually we usually do a Sharp Top Mountain hike on January 1st. More information will come out about that as we get closer to it, but we usually start sometime probably late morning on January 1st. but that's all I have at this point.
Thanks, Mason, and thanks for all the work you're doing up there. in this cold winter with bears watching you that you don't see, which is surprising sometimes. But thanks again. Jen, I know you're here to talk about a couple of these hikes, and maybe there's a little more you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna add for the silent hike, a thought came up that if you have an electric golf cart and you don't wanna walk it, I will be in my electric golf cart so you can join in. It's a real special time, y'all. It's beautiful out there. It's a time of silence and reflection and nature. You do get to see some Christmas lights, from up in the mountains. So it's a really neat time. So I encourage you, if you don't want to walk the hilly 3 miles, if you have access to an electric golf cart, come and join us. Flashlights are very important. Headlamps. Red headlamps, so they're not disturbing.
Great, thanks, Jan. Thanks for coming and talking about this. Volunteers. Megan's going to give us a little report on volunteers today, as long as she's here. She does a lot of work in the background. And Megan, it's up to you. Thanks for all you're doing.
Oh, thanks. Everybody else does the work and I put it in a spreadsheet. That's not a big deal, but I appreciate the accolades, okay? So I know some of this stuff was mentioned last night and then some of our leaders have talked about it today, but just overall, what we have recorded, and that's important because I think when we talk about all the work that these people do, they're also terrible at reporting it because they're very humble and it's about the work that they're doing and it's not about like the credit for it. So I know when I'm trying to break things down like by group leader, these are vastly underestimated. It's just very true, because to say that Andy Kids, Keep Entry Beautiful is only 381 hours, we know that's not accurate, right? We know it's way more than that. For Marietta to say that there's 1,100, I think she said 43, I have 71, that's fine. 1,143 hours for all of the fundraising, we know. The kids alone have a recorded 1,552 hours in 2024, so if we could just recognize these two people, that's incredible. And that's just like in wildlife. We know that they do, with all the concerts and everything else and art and everything. So just incredible. Mason and Jan on trail work, 287 hours, like unbelievable. So a quick background, I think we talked about it last month, was that we started tracking these types of things because there is significant like certification and insurance and compliance and things that for BTCI, for fire safety and electrical safety and all that kind of stuff. So we were tracking these things, and I report it to Michael Corey so that he's reporting these things to the state. We get better deals, like I said, on insurance and stuff like that. So that's what we were doing at first, and then it's come like incredibly apparent that we're not tracking the thing, like the fundraising especially. We weren't focused on that because. Or we're just, what we get certified for, and that's what's important. But the fundraising alone, that's how we pay for all the things that we do to put the work in. And then we talk about like special events. We weren't really tracking that stuff because that's just fun, extra stuff. Like all the blood, sweat, and tears of LuAnn Chambers, that should be recorded. So I'm making a commitment for 2025. We're going to track everything. The community needs to know everything that this group does for this community, whether it's just thanking our employees, right, or hosting a fish fry, or it's hanging Christmas decorations. The stream keeper work, right? We have 361 hours that the stream keepers have done, right? And the certification that they have, and how we're leading in communities on that kind of stuff. So I vow to be much better on this next year, so I'm going to hound all of you a lot more. I'm going to become your worst nightmare so you report things. Elden, I have 30 hours for you on 2024. That's not accurate at all, right? But he just, doesn't want to talk about all the work that he does. So we do want to say that we're closing out 2024 with 2,491 hours of volunteer work. So everybody please, a round of applause. And then I also handle the volunteer shirts. So for those that don't have it, I want to just display, this is the short sleeve version. Okay. And then this is the long sleeve version. So if you don't have a shirt and you need a shirt, because we want to make sure that when you're out there in the community that we're being, and there's separate stream keeper shirts, right? But that we want to make sure that the yellow volunteer on there is for your safety, and just so you don't get accosted if you're on somebody's property cutting down small trees for the electrical work and stuff like that. Want to make sure that you're properly marked so nobody tries to shoot you or anything like that. But also it's just a nice little thing to have, right? So so when we're out there and I see people, I'm driving home from the mail center and I see, who was out there the other day when I was, Lou, was it you that was, at your Keep Bent Tree Beautiful zone, right? Or doing work out there on Bent Tree Drive, and to have your shirts displayed, it's always a sense of pride. So if you need a shirt, or if you have a short sleeve but don't have a long sleeve, let me know, because I placed the order for new shirts early in the year. So we wanted to take a little bit of time, that there's 3 particular people that are deservedly taking a little bit of a step back from all of the leadership that they do here, and we wanted to give a little token. So LuAnn, Elden, and Marietta, we wanted to say thank you. Dara, if you would like to.
Special ornaments that
Yeah.
came from the I Love Bent Tree. They do, right? And this is why they do it, because they love Bent Tree, as we all do.
Right.
So who did we say?
Marietta, Elden, and LuAnn.
For your Christmas trees, for your holiday decorations. And then for the other executive team leaders who have the smaller ones. What is that one? Yeah,
Okay, that's it for volunteers, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Megan, for all you're doing. Thanks to our volunteers also. Obviously, 2,400 hours is almost 1,000 more than last year, so recording's getting better, but our commitments and volunteers are working harder than ever. Treasurer's report. Denise?
Good morning. We had a busy November. Well, I'll just start. So in January, we started the year with about 11,000. Year to date, that's just through November, our revenue was almost 28,000 and our expenses were about 21,000. Our big jump obviously is in November, and with the fundraising efforts, after we have accounted for taxes and fees and any other expenses, we netted almost $8,300 on the holiday event. So that was a tremendous impact, more than probably was budgeted. So thanks to everybody for the donations and the time, and certainly those that purchased. We really appreciate all of your donations. So we are tracking to have a little bit more in our checking account than we had planned, but the year's not over and there's still projects that we'll be working on. So thank you all for your volunteer time and your contributions.
Thank you, Denise. And thanks for all you do, keeping those numbers and checking accounts straight. Just some upcoming education that I know we talked about last time. What would we like to talk about? Some of those things have been integrated into next year's plans. These are tentative, but some are fixed in. There will be no meeting in January as usual. In February, we'll be talking about forestry and habitat in those areas. Tentatively got Mark Warren for April. May, snakes and Bent Tree. June, we're going to have whiskey making in Bent Tree, and that will be given by the infamous Chris Feld. July, there's no meeting. August, we're going to have some presentations about marble mining, because it's something that's relevant to where we are and how the whiskey's made. I mean, no, that's not. And then, of course, next December, Jim, we'll have your report again. As usual, just let us know. What do you think? How do you feel? We all have emails. Executive committee will be meeting on Monday to discuss our coming 25 budgets and plans. If you'd like to volunteer, donations are welcome. Talk to us. And now on to the major presentation for today, Jim Pryor, our general manager and COO. Jim, thanks for all you do. Appreciate it. Come on up here and we'll see if we can't get your presentation to run.
All righty. Well, I've made it 2 years at Bent Tree. This is my second presentation. And to get things out of the way, I am a little bit off today. I am struggling with Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy, some of you might have experienced before. It's a condition where a virus in your body attacks the nerve that controls the muscles of the left side of your face. It is a temporary condition. I do have the chickenpox virus, probably the shingles in me, And Lord knows what the new China virus is doing to all of us. So I've had it for 11 days, and this is the second time I've had it. I had it in 2016, so it's rare you get it twice, but call me special. It doesn't hurt. My lips don't work. My eye doesn't work. My ear doesn't work. But like I said, it is temporary. Last time it lasted 3 weeks. So I come to work every day and battle through. And as God says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So I wouldn't miss today for the world because I like talking about all the accomplishments that we've had. After 2 years of Ventry, I do bring my own cooler to the meetings now. So it's full of water, and as long as I keep my mouth wet, we're all good. I'm gonna ride my presentation today, and hopefully everybody will get a lot out of it. I've been at Ventry 2 years. Recently ate lunch with a mentor of mine, and he said, Jim, every opportunity teaches you new things as a leader. What has 2 years at Ventry taught you or changed you as a leader? And it's easy. I have become more flexible and more adaptable as a leader. And it is because we are a community of residents, like many of you, that are involved with volunteerism, involved in the community and care about the community. Before I ran an operation where they said, Jim, you make the decisions and you make it great, and we'll stay out of your way. That's not Ventry. And that's how Ventry has changed me as a leader. So it's truly a team approach of how things operate at Ventry. Together, each accomplishes more. In my presentation today, I wanted to start out because after 2 years of being here, I've learned what Ventry is. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to go through 30-something slides to tell you how I've become more adaptable and flexible. Lake and Wildlife and our leadership, Rick Patterson, Brian Vassar, and the team, thank you. Land and Development, Tony Young and team, thank you. Ventry Activities Committee, Dave Stewart and team, thank you. Youth Vest, Susan Kahn and team, thank you. Golf and Greens, Charles Rice and team, thank you. Architectural Committee, Fred Macklem and team, thank you. The Courts, Brad King and team, thank you. The Stables, Mark Krasner and team, thank you. Elections Committee, Margie Robinson, Sandra Stewart, thank you. Keep Ventry Beautiful, Andy Kidd and team, thank you. 28 Acres Initiative, Larry Carmichael and team, thank you. Land and Development, Land Bank Initiative, Robert Calhoun and team, thank you. Sharp Top Property Initiative, Calvert Huffines and team, thank you. Fire Department Initiative, Artie Allen and his team, thank you. Food and Beverage Initiative, Michael Kahn and his team, thank you. Amenities Initiative with the Private Pass, Charles Rice and team, thank you. Stables Think Tank, Ralph Morrison team, thank you. Habitat Conservation Plan and Committee, Rick Patterson and team, thank you. And Dara, I'll get to that in a minute when we talk about accomplishments. I got an answer for your update. Learning Tree Committee and team, Mary LuAnn. Lake Tamarack Recreation Area Master Plan, Rick Patterson and team, thank you. Animal Shelter Board, LuAnn Chambers and team, thank you. Benevolence Fund Committee, John Micah and team, thank you. And this kind of gets swept under the rug a lot, but benevolence, awesome. Our employees, not general manager, but our employees get a little Christmas break and gift as a gift from our residents, and that is awesome. Thank you all. Thank you so much for your generosity in helping the lives of our team. Ventry Foundation, Gerald Hunter and team, thank you. Board of Directors, Buddy Creef and team, thank you. So, 33 committees, groups that meet constantly every day at Ventry to make this place better. And as general manager, I don't go to all those meetings. I let it happen. Flexible and adaptable to letting the community run the community and make things happen. That's how I've changed as a leader. But that tells you how big of a task this is, how big Ventry is, how involved Ventry is, and how it continues to thrive and happen. So that's what makes it a great place. As general manager, what I am concerned about is BTCI the business and how it operates. And I have a wonderful executive team that has been put in place that really helps the way we operate every day and serves the residents of our community. First to the left, we have Michael Corey, who is our Director of Safety, Emergency Management, and Compliance. Tari Darby, who is the Director of Marketing and Community Services. She handles the operations of all of our amenities. Of course, the good-looking guy in the middle, who hopefully will look like that again in a week or so. Melissa Leach, and all of you have dealt with Melissa. You know, she's our CFO, Finance, Human Resources, handles our administration and finance. And finally, Ashley Brownell, who's our Director of Operations, who knows every inch of Bentry and how the water operates and how the roads operate and everything. This is an awesome team. This is of great value to our community. I work with them every day, and we try to know everything that's happening in Bentry, and we try to stay ahead of things instead of chasing things. And just what an awesome team. And it's wonderful coming to work every day with this group and the extension of those that work with them. So, 2024, let's talk about some accomplishments and things that happened in 2024. First of all, we started out the year by doing a vision plan. This vision plan was actually kicked off in something that happened in 2023, which was the community survey that went out. We got a great response. We got a lot of input from the community, a lot of data. That formed a committee which created the vision. And the vision committee looked at our community and said, we have 5 major assets that are the backbone of our community. The golf course, Lake Tamarack, public safety, fire, EMT, water utilities, and the tavern. Those were identified in the survey as one of the main reasons why you all live here. Could be all 5 of them, could be 1 of them, could be 2 of them. But the majority of our residents came here and loved Bentry because of one of these 5 things. So those are the 5 kind of pillars that support our community. In the plan, we came up with, I believe, 16, 17 initiatives in different categories. And this is a 5-year vision plan. And many of these things are in action going. And I'm not going to read off all the initiatives because we're going to update them each year. But these are kind of the initiatives that we're striving for with committees and as the board acts each year. One of the initiatives for Lake Tamarack was the master plan, which I know is in process right now. Rick and his team is working on that. We're excited about that and how the recreation area around the lake is going to look one day. Lake dredging, been a big topic. Yes, we kicked the can down the road for a long time. It's an expensive project. When you talk about roads, water, and the lake, it's expensive. We are trying to find pricing. We do have a survey of the lake where we know the areas that need to be dredged. And one of the initiatives for the board in 2025 is going to be putting some pricing and some timeline and hopefully some financing plan behind the dredging of the lake. And then finally, the Habitat Conservation Plan. Lake and Wildlife was charged with creating a habitat plan, which you did. And the committee did a tremendous job. It's an awesome plan. They put the plan together. They sent it to staff and the board to evaluate. It got plenty of critique and plenty of comments. They changed the plan a little bit and they presented it to the board. Now, this is an operational plan. It is the plan of our community. It didn't have to be adopted. It is actually, Dara, it's been put in place. It's best practices. We like it. The board likes it. It's endorsed. So it's one of those things where we want the committee to go forward and make things happen. We do have funding for initiatives within the plan. So as things come up, that's when you come to the board and say, we want to do this, we need funding. We want to do that, we need funding. So it's just one of those things now. We want the plan to go forward. It is Bentry's Habitat Conservation Plan, and we want to make it happen little by little. And we want your committee to continue to support that and educate the community. The big thing about it is it's a best practices plan, and it's how Bentry should operate. It's how residents should operate within your properties. So it's mostly educating the community. And I look forward to you rolling that out and us working on it little by little and seeing what we can do with it. Sorry I didn't communicate that better on the other end. Okay, 2024, we had money. We did some capital projects to improve the infrastructure of our community. And so talk about some things that got done. Our first project was the 19th Hall ADA Improvement Project. This made this facility ADA accessible with a new parking lot, a wheelchair ramp that led down to the tavern. We built an ADA accessible restroom. These plans were in for a while. And then we put a new stairway on the back side of the building, which brings you out on flatter ground. And since we put that in, we haven't had anybody fall and get hurt. So to me, it's working that way. So it's good. We also have 2 doors that enter the tavern that are wheelchair accessible or handicap accessible, where it's press button and the door opens and closes. So that project is finished, and we're excited about that. Making that facility ADA accessible also opens up and allows us to host tournaments to bring people in from the outside to generate extra revenue. The cottage. When I first came here, one of the things the board wanted me to do was look at the cottage and see if it needed to still be standing, if it is a benefit to our community. And it's rough. It's a 54-year-old building. It hadn't been maintained. Several people have lived in it. It's been multifunction for the community, but it is a good structural building. It has good bones to it. It has a good purpose. All those 33 groups that have to meet, plus BTAC and everything, we need places to meet. This building is the main cog for that, but a lot of times the admin office, the cottage, people want places to meet. I thought it was worth putting a little bit of money into it and renovating it. So last year we did what was called the external renovation of the building. It has a new roof. It has a new gutter system. We took the siding off the building, and we did have several water rottage points where we were able to replace the wood on the side of the building and put new siding on it. It has new French doors for entry. It has a new deck with an ADA wheelchair access. Before, if you were in a wheelchair, you had never gotten that building unless somebody picked you up and put you on the decking. So external is finished. On the left is the old one. On the right, with a little tree pruning, you have a beautiful new building. In 2025, we're going to do the interior renovation of it all. It is going to be a fine quality library, meeting space, bus stop, just a good benefit for the community to have as far as meeting space. The Spillway Bridge. This time last year, we came forward and said it was rotted, it was condemned, nobody can use it, it's falling apart. Instead of replacing the bridge in its entirety, we hired a group to come in and put 2 new steel beams in and build the bridge back around it. So it's a philosophical question. Is it a new bridge or not? Well, it's the same bridge, looks the same as it was before, but it's got all new pieces to it. It should last a while. And for those walking, you don't have to get your feet wet anymore. Road striping. While we're on a paving plan and we stripe as we pave, we also have a lot of mountain roads in this community, and as you know, with the fog, it gets very dangerous to drive. So it has been our initiative to try to get these roads striped with the fluorescent paint so it glows in the dark. We do have a striping machine. It is relatively small, relatively old. It's very difficult to operate. It is very slow because it does clog up when you put the reflector beads in there. We have a lot of paint. So starting off, we did Little Pine Mountain Road and Tamarack Drive. That's 8 miles of your main roads in this community. And we did contract it out to a state vendor who took care of it in a half a day. Alpine, Little Hendricks Mountain, Chestnut Cove, those were some side streets that we were able to do with our staff and the paint that we had. Takes a little bit longer, less traffic, so it doesn't take as many people, but we were able to knock those out as well. We'll continue to look to do some of the cul-de-sacs and side streets with our machine and our staff. The bigger roads we'll contract out. It's just more cost efficient and easier than blocking traffic and shutting down our roads. But we will continue to look to road stripe to get all the roads in the community up as we can and have the resources to do so. Our operations complex, during one of our tornado storm of 2023, we noticed that if we had a big storm, our waste center shuts down. Our cottage shuts down. The animal shelter pulls power off the cottage. It shuts down. Public safety did have a generator. It was relatively small, so we upgraded it. So we now have generators to support the waste center, the cottage, and public safety, and those are all put in place with propane. Last year we made some improvements to the tavern itself, in the kitchen and in the dining room. First, in the kitchen, we put the FRP board. That's what you see up here. It's very sanitary. It's very easy to clean. Before it was a brick wall, which is hard to clean. So very sanitary in there as far as I've got FRP board on around the walls. And we did buy some new equipment as well, some new cooking equipment that makes it easier. That's a combi oven, one of the most technological new advances in cooking, which has helped our kitchen staff produce food faster. In the dining room, of course, you see the new tabletops that make it a little bit more rustic looking, added a nice touch to it, took the cafeteria look a little bit out of it, and also the bar expansion that we've had that's been really, really popular because, hey, it's a tavern. People like to drink, and we have plenty of spaces at the bar now, and on many nights, you know, you're in there, those are the first seats that fill up. It's good. So it's been a welcome change, and we'll talk a little bit more about the tavern as we go through, but those are some improvements we were able to make last year. This is one of the biggest influential or impact projects that I think that we've had in our community. Function and appearance. That's what sells Bent Tree when people come here to look at this. If you are a pickleball player or a tennis player, you drive to the tennis courts now and you see this new pod that has 6 pickleball courts, beautifully painted, lined off, permanent netting. Wow, great place to play pickleball. We've got very nice tennis courts as well that are clay courts. Good product, well maintained. So I believe this is just a big impact project that happened. Next year we're going to be painting and lining the indoor center, cleaning it up a little bit, making it look good. Water line, main line replacement. Okay, our water line was built 54 years ago. It was small. Most fire extinguishers wouldn't work. So we have been on a process of laying a new 6-inch main water line through the community for years. Our staff does it internally. We buy the pipes. We operate the equipment. We can do 5,000 linear feet per year. And so we've been on a process of doing this. And again, last year, our staff was able to lay the 5,000 feet. Unfortunately, with this project, you take care of the easy first and you do the hard last. And we are in the hard now. So there's a lot of rock, there's a lot of boring, and it's a process. But we're going to continue to go through. I believe we're about 80% finished with that work. So we have 20% left of that main water line to lay. But as we lay it, we put in new fire hydrants about every 500 feet. Those fire hydrants are fully functioning and tested. And so it's making big improvements to our community and our water system with this work. Alrighty, and then our signage. Michael Corey is always doing inspections within the community, trying to make our drive and roadways safer. Is putting up mirrors, signs, speed enforcement, and we were able to continue doing that through the year. We did look at putting up some guardrails that, with the road shoulders we have, it's really not good for us to put those up because they're not safe anyway. And so our attorney has advised us not to put up those. But as far as we can do signage and speed enforcement, we hope to keep our roads a little bit safer. Our evacuation routes, we have 10 of them. I hope we never have to use them, but we inspect them monthly. We keep them clear, and should we ever have to use them, they are functioning And now you have red signs out there everywhere to show you how to get to one if you need it. I'm sure nobody knows the whole evacuation route and where the closest one is, but now we've got some signage to help if that case ever comes up. Back to one of the projects that Brian and Lake and Wildlife was working on in conjunction with us, the Mulligan Creek. It's still in progress. It has been a year-long process. They did not want to work in August because it was too hot. And so as a reward, you got to work last week when it was too cold. So give or take. My staff said that they'd rather work in the cold than in the hot.
Yep.
So thank you for that. That is a great improvement. You know, hey, if you got a lake, you're going to get sediment in it. But we're trying the best to control what we have in there and how much we have to dredge. Dredging's a necessary evil. We're going to have to do it. Do you want to do it every 10 years, every 20 years, or 30 years? So thank you for your work, and we believe in you and your knowledge of doing that.
Thank you too.
We had some big expenses for projects this year in our water treatment plant. We have 3 what we call basins where the water's pumped into it, cleaned, and sent to the tanks to go to your house. And we're taking the next couple of years and replacing the filtration system one at a time. About a $350,000, $400,000 project to replace all the filters in those. And so we are working on that. There was a 26-week lead time for the equipment. Now we have to have somebody to install it. And that project and the new pump controls for it will happen probably in January, February, March. We'll finish those off. So, operational highlights of 2024. We replaced 10 AED defibrillators. We have one in every building. There is one in this building. I don't know where it's at, but there is one in here, out here in the hallway. And out here in the hallway. And Josh Pitters, one of our residents, got a grant through Northside Hospital. So this was a $17,000 project that the hospital paid for. And we have all new defibrillators with all new parts to it. And again, I hope we never have to use them, but they're there in every building if we need it. Aquatics. Aquatics has always been a challenge with us. We have pools that are very old. The upper pool, we found the leak. We permanently patched it. The upper pool's in good shape. It has a new pump. The lower pool is in very bad shape. It has a leak that requires a temporary fix. And we do that every year. We don't know how long it's going to last. It does leak. We do cover it. We do protect it. We do try to patch it each year. But it's going to become a day where we're either going to have to do away with it or replace it. And that's coming in the future. But we do that. And with last year, we had a new operational setup with the pools. And I think it worked very, very well. So people seem to be happy with it. We had an open gas policy. We didn't want to pay someone $20,000 to collect $10,000 in revenue. So we saved that. And I was told a million times this would never work. It worked, and it worked great. If we had any problems, public safety was there. We had some pool people monitoring. We had concessions. The concessions didn't work so well. Ice cream was a big seller. Bottled water was a big seller. The others weren't. It kind of broke even. So next year we'll probably have concessions for like special events, maybe some ice cream in there, but we'll tone that back a little bit. But as far as the pool season, it seemed to be a big success. The Learning Tree Program, it was offered the first time since 2019, and we had 5 sessions on Wednesday nights in May at the Tavern. We had a full 30 register to come. I think it was a great program. Those that participated in it seemed to get a lot out of it. We had some great speakers and just learning about bent tree. And it's something we want to continue each year. Through this process, John Hoffey does a tremendous job. He videotaped part of it. He did some operational things about how that water plant operates that we have on our website. And it's very educational. And so it turned out to be a very, very good program with some good results coming behind it. Public safety programs. They continue to work with the community. They did a fall prevention class that was well attended. And of course, Public Safety Day, first Saturday in October, which is always a big hit. And they had the Life Flight Chopper come in. The kids love that. I know y'all are a big fan of Travis. So am I. Him and his grounds division are doing a great job. Every penny the board gives them is an investment in our community that improves something. And him and his group took the limited money they had and just did improvement projects throughout the community. The dog park, those of you that use the dog park, it's a noticeable improvement. We keep trying to regenerate the turf every year so we have a good base year round for that. New stairs leading down to the beach. The basketball court was cleaned up. New grills around the pavilion. And Travis and his team will continue. They got projects set up for this year as well. Continue to improve some of our things. The ISO rating. That's something that usually comes every 2 years. With COVID, it kind of pushed it behind. So we haven't had it for a while. Our ISO rating in Ventry is a 2. 1 is the best you can get. I think there's maybe 5 departments in the whole state of Georgia that are a 1. We will never be a 1 because we don't operate and staff 2 fire stations. So that won't happen. So 2 is the best we can get. And that's what we have right now. Pickens County is a 5. And Talking Rock, I believe, is a 19. And that affects your insurance rates. They look at that. They may not tell you what discount you get right away, but the insurance companies know what your ISO rate is on your house, and if it burns, how quick somebody's going to get there to take care of it. So they came and did our inspection. We haven't got our rating yet. We do anticipate a 2 or a 3. We don't think we're going to go down because we do think we've improved since the last time. With some of the comments, so we should be getting that any day now. We do expect to keep it at a 2. Community marketing. Teresa's done a terrific job on the marketing aspect of things. We are trying to get out there to promote Ventry an hour down the road in Florida. Get out there and do that. That's a little bit harder than it takes. That takes a lot of resources to get out there. Everybody's heard of Big Canoe. Yes, I work at Bent Tree, 5 miles down the street from Big Canoe, because everybody's heard of Big Canoe. We want it to be Big Canoe 5 miles down the street from Bent Tree, and we'll get there one day. But with that and private pass, we are doing quite a bit of marketing. We do believe we've got the private pass down to a good market pricing level. Last year was the first year we set it up. It kept changing. It was hard to market. We didn't really find that price point. I think now going into 2025, we've got that price point and we can put a good marketing plan together. But Terry is marketing that hard, and we are marketing private pass more 20 to 25 mile radius for that. And we had 2 last year. We've gotten 3 applications this week for next year. So we do hope to increase that program. I think the goal next year is 20 or 25 members for that. The recycling center got some new signage, makes it a little bit easier to use. And storm emergency management. Boy, sometimes I think Bent Tree is snake bit. We have trees, they fall. We have storms, the wind blows. We have overhead power lines. Trees fall on them. They cause fires. They cause a mess. We have a power company that doesn't work for us. So we're relying upon them. We do what we can to help them in times of storms. We let them know where the issues are coming in, and we have staff and equipment ready. As soon as they cut the power off, we take the trees away. They can get the power restored. So we have to deal with that. It seems like July and August is bare every year. At least 2 years I've been here, those have been the months that we've had the big storms. I think we manage it well. Michael Corey and his team do a great job communicating. They're in touch with the county and the county responders as well. And so we just try to maximize the communication and the support in those efforts to get it back on. I do get chewed out a lot during storms. And I tell you what, I got an easy line for you. When my cable TV goes out, I'm pissed off too. So, road culvert. This is something that as our roads division, we had a hard time hiring. We finally got it full. And this fall, we were able to do a lot of work. If you notice upon Little Pine, across from the Mountain Breeze decaying house, We had a lot of culverts that have gotten very, very deep and started washing and washing under the road. We don't want to lose our road infrastructure. So our roads team has worked very hard bringing rock material from the quarry and filling up that ditch, and then kind of even it out with the swale, planting grass in it with those. And you've seen a lot of along Little Pine, several areas of Little Pine, you've seen those shelters built up. That's helping preserve our road. Also, if you get off the road, you're going to end up in the ditch. We want less cars in the ditch with that, and so hopefully that'll help. We did get a beer truck stuck in the ditch this year. That was a rather interesting evening. That was no fault of ours. It's not always good. Sometimes we deal with bads, but sometimes we deal with challenges. Tavern, like I told you before, it's a challenge. There's a lot of factors in the tavern. We went through a really community debate this year about whether bringing in a third party. That was like a business decision that we had to work through with that and what we were going to do. Tari, who I hired to be our marketing person, and she does a tremendous job. She had a history in the restaurant business. She got out of that business. But she grew up in this community, she lives in this community, and she told me that she could take it over and she could do something with the tavern. And I said, are you sure you really want to get back into that? And she was like, I'm sure. For Wandrie, I will do that. And she has done that, and the community's responded. We've made some changes. We've tried to, increase the staff and customer service. We've tried to simplify the menu, tried to produce a quality product, try to do promotions. But it's one of those things. The tavern's always going to be up and down. We're a private community. Only so many people get in to use the restaurant. We're relying upon the community to support it. Our goal is to provide a good product. We want the support. In October, we had the biggest revenue month ever in the history of the tavern. People supported it. November's been a little slow because of the next item I'm going to talk about. But really, I think we've turned the corner. We're going good. But I still did have a lady come into my office the other day and tell me that she hates the new tavern, that she liked the oxtail and the exotic food, and we need to bring Chef Michael back. So you can't win one way or another. It's one of those things, but we try our best. And we hope that it is a good amenity, that we can produce that, and it just relies on the community to support it. And so we're always looking for feedback, but our intentions are good when it comes to the tavern. The next one, and I did put a slide in, but I don't want to talk about it, our recent computer gaffe. As I sent the information out, and saying this, being transparent doesn't mean I have to tell the community everything. We were cyber attacked. The FBI, Interpol, GBI, they're all involved in the investigation. There's only so much information I can send out when an investigation is going on. I have spoken too much. I did send out too much information, but people wanted to know, and y'all are stakeholders, and I did want to ensure people that there were protections in place where personal data and financial data isn't shared, and that wasn't leaked. But we have a computer system. We have firewalls. We have safety in our computer system. We have programs just like most people have. But the bad guys are smarter than the good guys. That's the world we live in. They're smarter than we are. We can have all the protections. We are insured, so some of the costs that we have for building the new network will be defrayed with it all. And they had a forensics team to look at it. They investigated every server we have, and they know how they got in and what they got and everything. And look, we're a small operation. I don't have an IT person on staff. We have a company that runs our IT program. We could spend a whole lot more money if we had an IT program like all the governments and the CIA. But hey, they get hacked too. So, it's just one of those things. It's how much you put into it to protect what you got. Fortunately, we have Jonas, which is the service that runs our financials and our accounts and everything. Well, they're pretty smart. They got a business to where you have to pay money and have an account through them in order for their program to work. If somebody hacks into their program and doesn't have a Jonas subscription, they can't get any of the data. So when we got hacked, they tried to get the Jonas data, but it didn't mean anything to them. It was all those numbers and letters that come up that you can't read anything. So we feel very, very safely that no personal data was leaked for anything. This was a professional hit. It might have had some local ties to it, so when people send me emails saying, well, we got 20 hacker experts that live in this community and 99% of the community is computer experts, you need to let so-and-so look at your network. Well, I have the keys to the castle and I protect who gets the keys. I just don't let anybody into the network. So we were held ransom. They demanded 2 Bitcoin, which is $188,000, to give us all of our data back. They did show us all the computer files that they got, and it was old information. A lot of it was old information, really didn't mean much. On the dark web is Buddy's 5-year white plan that the community got. On the dark web was financial documents from 2018, which are open to the community and our tax world and everything. So we didn't really feel I got anything. We wiped the servers clean. We built a new network and a new program. It's back operating. We were down for 2 weeks. It was inconvenient. I appreciate all of you working with us. But we've got a new network. We've got some new controls in for passwords. We got the multi-authentication. We've got a new malware, heavier firewall program in place. Not to say we won't get attacked again, but we're a little bit stronger than we were before with what we had. So, feel safe in that. We're still working through the process of it all. But with the good comes the bad, and it happened and we worked through it, and I'm not a computer expert, but we do have computer experts, and we manage that. 2025 outlook. We're getting ready to spring into a new year. What's going to happen in Bentry in 2025? Internal renovation of the cottage. No, we're not going to completely gut the place and start over, but we are going to tear out the flooring and put new subflooring in. We're going to put new vinyl flooring in there. We're going to renovate the kitchen as far as tearing out that front window where it'll open it up. We'll still have kitchen counter space. It'll be more of a catering kitchen. It'll have a coffee machine, a microwave. We won't really have refrigerators and ovens and things like that. It'll just be more of an event side, but you'll be able to have your events in there. We're going to have a pocket door that leads to the bathroom, and the bathroom will be ADA accessible going in. We're going to have some new lighting. We're going to have some more indirect lighting, so you can have the strong LED overhead lighting if you want it, if you need it. If not, it'll be a little bit better lighting to create an atmosphere in there. And it'll have a new HVAC system, so it'll have some more climate control in there. Comfortable meeting space. The library will stay as it is in the back side of the building. And so improvement to that facility. So as good as that picture looked last year of the external renovation that we did to the cottage, if you've been to the 19th hole, that building's in bad shape. That's a picture of the siding. It's rotted. And so next year we're going to replace the siding with the hardy plank. The same thing we did on the cottage, we'll be putting on the 19th hole. So it'll have a nice, fresh, new look, appearance to it all. And it'll make the stairway look better. We'll be doing painting, sealing and painting on the indoor tennis courts. We'll still have 2 tennis courts, but we'll also have it lined for multi-pickleball courts where we'll bring the temporary netting in, but the permanent lining will be down there. It'll make that building look very sharp. This is hole number 11 on the golf course. You probably never noticed this because it's a bridge you drive over, but it's about to sink. It's probably a beautiful stream, but you never notice that. We're going to repair both those culverts in there and put a new bridge over top of that for safety purposes and water flow purposes. But we're going to do the 5,000 linear feet of water line replacement. We're still on Tamarack Drive. We'll be going from Hummingbird Lane up to Stone Ridge Court. If y'all ever been on Stone Ridge Court, anybody ever been on Stone Ridge Court? It's all rock. It's all hill. It's going to be a lot of work to bore up through there, but we're going to get that water line up through there. It's been a long time coming. Road paving. We have money in the budget next year to continue with our process, milling, sealing, top coating, striping. It'll be the same quality project that we did last time, which has held up very well. The area that we're focusing on this year is the Oglethorpe Mountain Road area. I'm going to start paving more regionally so we can get the best bang for our buck, where they can come in and do one area at a time. The reason that Oglethorpe was the area chosen was I took 7 areas of the community. I looked at the roads with the worst condition rating, the most houses, and has water line been installed along those roads. The last thing I want to do is put into a new road and then have to come in and put a water line. So Oglethorpe area met all the criteria of, it had the lowest condition rating, it had 47 houses it affected, and it had all the water lines already in. So that's why it's going first this year. But we do have 6 other areas that, as we have money, we'll continue to look at those areas. So we've got a budget. We're going to go out to bid here early in 2025, get the most bang for our buck, and hopefully have paving take place sometime April to June or July is where we'll do it this year. Golf course irrigation. Our golf course is one of our major assets. We have an irrigation system. We have a pump that goes from Lake Tamarack that does the backside. We have a pump on hole number 7 at that lake that does the front side. Those pumps are 25 years old. They're failing. We can't get parts for them anymore. If we ever went into a drought, we would lose our fairways and our greens. Big problem. So the board has given us funds. It's a 2-year process. This year we're going to replace the motors and the pumps in our pump houses. So we'll have pretty much a new engine running our irrigation system. Next year we'll replace the valves and the heads for that. So in a 2-year process, we're going to shore that up. It's about a $260,000 project. All in all, so that's why we're splitting it over 2 years. But it is important because it would be very, very expensive and very bad if we lost our greens. And we are susceptible to drought around here, as you know. Okay, this is a new thing. It's been looked at before, but something we found now. It's a new unit that we're going to get. It is a pull-behind leaf unit. And as you know, our staff goes in and digs out ditches and leaves and everything, and it's a slow process because it's very, very inefficient the way we have to do it. This will make it efficient. We've got 47 miles of roads in our community. If we have culverts on both sides, that is 94 miles of roads. We can get those ditches cleaned up much faster. With this unit, it's a pull behind. It'll suck the leaves right out of it. So we'll have staff that'll go in front and take out rocks and sticks, and then we'll be able to suck the leaves up, mulch it, and dump the leaves. We do hope that it's an efficient process to where we get more culverts cleaned out over the year, especially in the dry periods that we had this year. So we look forward to this new piece of machinery. We're going to continue with Brian and recommendation of Lake and Wildlife with the stream restoration program. Next year we're looking at Rocky Creek and Sally Doss Creek, and those will be the final 2 to get us into play. Rocky Creek, I had to be educated. I had no clue where Rocky Creek was. Dr. Levine's pond, private pond that he has, Rocky Creek leads from it into the marina area. And so Dr. Levine has done some work this year on his pond to secure his dam, to lower the water level a little bit, so we won't have any washout there. We have a new pipe that comes out that discharges into Rocky Creek. And once we secure the banks of Rocky Creek, we hope to keep some of that sediment out of the marina area. Club Tamarack access path. This is what you see right down here. For those of you who like to use the lower pool, it's hard to carry a cooler down there and hard to get there. As you can see, some people have tried to take their golf cart down there. It has created ruts. The septic lines for this building go out right through those ruts. So we can't permanently pave or put a structure on there, but we are going to come through this year and in-house, and we'll put an edging with crush and run on there, so it'll create a way for golf carts to get down there. It won't be an access or parking path. It'll be if you need to get something down to the patio for the stage or something down to the pool, you can take your items down there and drop them off. So the board's going to have their retreat coming up here on January 7th and 8th. Look forward to our new members of our board and working another year with the board of directors. Create new initiatives for this year. I work off initiatives, the board works off initiatives. It's a great pairing for what we're going to do. Economic development and impact is a big goal of what we have coming up for this year. We have all the lots from the land bank. The LAD committee is working on combining those, getting septic approved so we have some buildable lots in the community. We have the 28 acres which we're working at looking to go with the developer to build a 55 plus community. Once we have those plans, it'll come to the residents for a vote. There's still a lot of work to do to get that plan put together. There's a lot of dirt that has to be moved. There are community septic issues. It's completely doable. It's just a matter of how it's going to be done, how much it's going to cost, how much it's going to look like, what the impacts are going to be. And so we're taking that step by step to get to the community to roll that out. And we hope to do that sometime in 2025. External marketing, as far as private paths and for our community, is a big initiative for what we're doing in 2025 as well. And then, of course, I didn't put it on there, but the lake dredging plan is something we're going to get a little more aggressive about in doing for 2025. So that is kind of where we're going, Bent Tree. I'm sorry it took a while, but hopefully it was interesting and informative to everybody. Happy New Year as we go into a new year. I don't know how far we are for time. It's always dangerous to open it up for questions. I'll be glad to do that if you want.
Certainly, if you have the time, Jim.
Yeah.
There's some questions. You all right?
The stables, please. What's going on?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. The stables, the board has voted to terminate the contract of Kiev running the stables. That will terminate effective December the 31st. You have not heard any information about it because Kiev was running a business there, and he's running it through December 31st. I don't want to send information out that's going to hurt his business, so nothing has been said about it. He has sold some of his horses. He's still doing trail rides through December 31st. At that time, one of the initiatives for 2025 is the board is going to put together a committee to look at the viability of the stables and that property. Will it remain a stables? I don't know. I don't know if it's a viable business to continue running there. We're at a crossroads at Bent Tree to figure out if that's an amenity that we want to keep or we want to do something else with that property. It's wide open. Nothing's been determined right now, but we do want to take a good look at it. The equestrian business is a tough business. They're going out of business. It's an expensive business to run. Does Bent Tree want to be back in that business? Do we want to go back a contractor route? Is it viable to go back a contractor route? There's just a lot of questions that need to be answered with it. So I'm not trying to be deceiving or anything. We're going to close the stables down. We're going to continue to maintain it, so it's not going to go to pot. We're going to figure out what we're going to do with it, and then we're going to do it right. And we want it to be financial sustainable for the future. We want it to look good. If we're going to put stables back in there, there's a lot of money that needs to go into those facilities to make them look better, make them functional, make them safe. And that's going to need to be done before we get someone else in to run those. So it's one of those, it's one of those problems that we need to look at, but as a community, we'll come together, we'll fight, we'll figure it out, and we'll move on. That's pretty much hard, honest truth. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Jim, on that same line, do we have enough land down there for adequate pasture? That's one. And number two, do we have any sort of impact study of how many equestrian-minded folks we have here? Like, if we had a full functional stable, how many of our residents would be using it? Do you know? Have any idea?
Yes, sir. I'll try to answer both those the best I can. First of all, that's a rock quarry. That stable is built on top of a rock quarry. Under the dirt that you see on the surface is rock. It's hard to grow grass on rock. We could bring in a lot of soil and plant grass. Would it maintain? Probably not, especially with horses grazing on it and eating on it. I've been told by several horse experts, you can't have a pasture without grass. So, looking at it as a businessman, I'm a businessman, yeah, that's a tough sell. But horses are resilient and they've lived there long enough so they can continue to live there. That's the flip side of the coin. We have multiple pastures so we can keep multiple breeds or brands of horses. I understand horses are mean, they don't like each other. You got to separate them, kind of like humans, you know. So yeah, that does lead to me a question: is do we have the adequate stable and space for stables? Second of all, is if we're operating stables, how do we want it to operate? Do we want it to be trail rides? Do we want it to be boarding only? What business model does it take to be sustainable to do that? You know, if we went with a full boarding model, they told me that 8 to 10 horses is what, for the land that we have, what you should keep in there. Okay, so we come in and we operate a business to do boarding, and we take 8 horses, and we open it up to residents. Okay, which 8 of you want your horses in there? Okay, and we do a contract with the 8 of you, and we keep your horses. Well, there's 2,500 people that live in Bent Tree. We're serving 8 people. Do y'all feel good with your assessment money being spent taking care of 8 people's horses? I mean, so you have that battle as well. I mean, it is one of those things where we just need to figure it out. We just, yeah.
Are there any other ideas on the table of how to use that land if we abandon the stable?
Well, yeah, you know, I get a lot of emails, so I get a lot of ideas. A skate park, a nature park, a health club, a storage area, because if we use the 28 acres, you know, people going to store some stuff. What's an alternative for that? So yeah, I've heard the gamut. There's a lot of ideas. It's common property, usable property. Could we do something better with it? Is there a better business plan? Yeah, I don't know. But the board's going to put together a committee, not just of horse people, of a lot of different people, and we'll do the same thing Bent Tree's always done for 50 years to figure out where we go. Now, as far as horse people go, we did do the assessment survey of the community. You know, the equestrian lovers and equestrian users were low. I mean, I came from a Parks and Recreation background. We do a survey in the community, you get 1% of people that use it. You know, 80% of the people like walking trails and like to walk. 1% of the people like horses and do horses. Horses aren't for everybody. It is a small group. It's a loud group. It's a passionate group. It's an expensive group. But the numbers showed in our survey that the numbers here really aren't that big. So, something we're going to have to work out. Ken.
Yeah, the question is, what's the relationship with the Saddle Club, and is that a revenue source? Do they pay to use our property?
So the Saddle Club is a separate entity from the stables themselves. It is an organization of about 80 people, and I believe 30-something are residents. They do pay dues to the Saddle Club. In the past, they built the arena that was there, and they do some maintenance to the arena over the years for that. With that, they have an agreement. We just have a special agreement. It's a special use agreement that they can use the facilities. We don't generate a whole lot of revenue from them. Just pretty much what they put back into the maintenance of it and the donation to the stables themselves. It's a small level agreement. Yes, sir. Yeah, they have their own charter and how they use it.
What's the status of deer call? We seem to see more and more deer, and my understanding is that the last survey found even more deer than we had before. Elden gave us a report on it earlier in the year, and the numbers are going too high.
Yes, sir. We have a wildlife management plan at Bent Tree. It's my job to make it happen. I don't believe in culling as the natural culling of mass killing of setting up deer and killing deer. But the wildlife in the community is being managed on a plan. We don't really disclose the results of it. It is happening. It's happening based off of the plan, and the counts are rising. We had a good spring last year. It was nice and warm. There are plenty of deer out there, but they are being managed.
Regarding the hacking, does our insurance cover the ransom?
Yes, for the hacking, we did have insurance that covered that. If we were going to pay the ransom, we would have to pay that ourselves. I refuse to pay that. Hopefully nobody will ever steal my kids. But no, we didn't do the ransom. We just decided to move on, build a new network, and go on. The insurance does cover the rebuilding of the network, some revenue lost, like the revenue we lost at the tavern. We will get some back. It'll cost us our deductible with that. We're still working through the insurance company to try to recover some of those funds.
Go ahead. I've heard talk of increasing the Vista Pruning back here to open up the lake. Is that in the works?
Yes. In the budget process, we looked at Vista Pruning out back behind here. The cost to do that and mulch it all up was $60,000. And in doing that, we weren't guaranteed a view of the golf course of the lake from here. So that was one of the cuts that the board decided to make, that it just really wasn't worth the money to do that. We do want to do some of it internally ourselves if we can to get to the low stuff, but just the impact of $60,000 just wasn't on the cards.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say you're doing a great job, and we do appreciate you.
Thank you.
And glad you're here. Hope you stay another 30 years.
Well, I made it through my first 2-year contract, and they've got me locked up for a couple more years, so I'm excited to be here and came here for a challenge, and y'all have not disappointed.
A lot of people lost money on the bet that you'd stay 2 years, but that's okay.
Good. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
Do we know the results of the voting yet?
We don't. The voting closed yesterday,
Okay.
so those results will be sent out this week. No, ma'am. We should have them out early this week. Assessments are coming out early this week too, so Merry Christmas. Art. Yes, the sluice gate at the dam, as you know, we put a trash rack over it. We exercised it last year. It opened. We sandblasted. It was good. We exercise it annually. We don't open it too far, but we opened it and it is working. It's not rusted shut, so we're good on that end. We have solved the problem that Big Canoe has not. All righty, I think we're good. Thank you. I appreciate the invite. Thanks for enduring me.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate everything you're doing for us, with us. We hope you recover quickly and healthily. Appreciate you coming here. Other than that, there was a card left last night after our dinner, and it was asked that we read it to the group. It's from the Spell family. It said, "Dear Lake and Wildlife, thank you all for the meals and provisions during Kimberly and Nell's continued time of healing from the accident. Thank you for the phone calls and messages as well. As the group heals and are beyond grateful, we are so happy, and our best to the entire community at Lake and Wildlife." And so I wanted to read that for you. And with that, thanks again to the board, all you all for coming today. Jim, for you enduring and giving us this detail and your transparency. It's very, very good. It answers a lot of questions. And that's it for today, unless there's any other comments or questions. Go Dogs! Thank you.
I agree with what you said.